I have been working on this environmental sector for close to 2 decades now, 18 years. So have done my masters in environment management. So from the beginning, I was very much involved with the environmental law, policy and advocacy. So I took environment management's one single component of environmental law part of it, and then I started implementing to some extent directly or indirectly. Initially couple of years in the consultancy firm through the environmental impact assessment. So that's again a mandate under the environmental law itself. So I used to be part of that environmental impact assessment study, but later on I've completely moved to the policy advocacy and largely based on the evidence-based advocacy. So it was a combination of environmental law and if non-compliance or any kind of gaps, how socially livelihoods and besides environment protections, how the livelihoods of the communities, vulnerable people, marginalized, all of them are getting impacted. So basically a combination of environment and social inclusions, how law can be utilized to address those kind of issues. So happen to be with two policy advocacy organizations, Toxics Link, CSC, Center for Science and Environment, both are Delhi based, and then environmental law firm for 7-8 years. And now with all the different kind of experience at Asar, I am looking at the state climate interventions for the West Bengal, largely West Bengal, to some extent Odisha as well, but that's a smaller scale. And there it's more on the experience based implementations. So basically how law has been implemented, where the challenges lied, and how now those kind of experiences can be leveraged through the government entities at times, with the social sectors, NGOs or CSOs at times. So kind of how the situation demands, accordingly tweaking the work patterns or the decision making issues and things like that. So specifically if you talk about the statute, that if there is any climate resilient agriculture based statute we don't have really. So India does not have any specific statute or act that deals with the climate resilient agriculture. Unlike recently USA had come up with, it's very new, in April only they had come up with a bill that they are planning to make a law about this climate resilient agriculture. India does not have any such specific statute about that. But on the hindsight, India has advanced on many aspects to look climate resilient agriculture when they had made the National Action Plan on Climate Change, because there they had 8 missions, out of which Sustainable Agricultural Mission is one of the important missions, which had already incorporated what different statute in different countries are now planning to make the climate resilient agriculture is a thing. Because it's an important thing. Now everyone has started understanding that you have to make agriculture resilient, otherwise especially climate resilient in all point of view, from the supply chain point of view, also to meet the demand point of view. Because if you don't adjust this climate resilience into the entire agricultural system, you won't be able to. So that way India is much advanced. It has this Sustainable Agricultural Mission. It has agricultural contingency plan for every district across the states. Challenges if you talk about in the governance system, you don't really need that something new statute to be enacted, but what is missing is a little more on the governance front. Like for example, now we have worked with one organization, through them we are doing some documentations across the West Bengal, what good case studies can be replicated to make the climate resilience a thing, and that can be leveraged through the scalability, like small scale interventions, how that can be leveraged to the scalability. So one example is like that climate lab, one of the organization is running in some schools, climate lab. So what they are teaching their students, how to do the soil testing, how to do the water conservation approach or water testings which you are going to use in your agriculture. Otherwise what groundwater quality is also getting changed. So when these students are being taught, their parents, who majority times a farmer as well in the rural sector, they are now teaching them that this is the way you should do the soil health check, and then accordingly nutrient additions or things like that, those kind of decisions can be taken care of. But this is a very small scale interventions. It needs governance, like government involvement to give it a scalability. So these kind of things are already planned in the sustainable agricultural mission. Crop residue management, क्रॉप डाइवर्सिफिकेशंस, क्रॉप के साथ लाइवलीहुड का इंटीग्रेशन, इंटीग्रेटेड फार्म मैनेजमेंट जिसको हम बोलते हैं. सो एवरीथिंग इज देयर एज अ पॉलिसी, बट नाउ when farmers need to adopt that, they need to understand that we do have Krishi Vigyan Kendra KVKs in across India. West Bengal mein I think 23 or 25 they have, but that needs to be much more strengthened, because it was told that it was imagined that it's a farm science connectivity, but when you are actually seeing the KVKs, you are not really giving that level of delivery, that level of deliberations, thinking farmers requirement. Farmers need to understand in terms of crop decisions what to be taken care of, in terms of early warning system जिसको हम बोलते हैं. All these kind of things are supposed to be done by these institutions. So if those can be strengthened, and this kind of model, that experimental model, if can be leveraged in the larger scale, like for example Gram Panchayat development plan, if this kind of things can be incorporated in those planning exercise, then you don't really need a separate statute to be in place. Yes, so just taking from the last questions only, what I was talking about, the integrated farm system, integrated farm management. Again, if you do the crop, the farming and the livestock together, that itself gives you a circular economic closed loop approach, because in the agriculture you will be using the excreta and as a manure, which don't need then the chemical fertilizers. So it will automatically give you the scope of organic cultivations, agricultural model. And also when you are getting the agriculture crop residues, those can be utilized in the so-called like biogas systems or biogas generations or livestock feedstock as well. So again same kind of example is available in West Bengal. Balaghat Hooghly district mein there is a case going, there is a fantastic examples where they are making the agriculture produce ko crop waste ko, they are now utilizing through a biogas plant, and they are not generating only the biogas, they are also generating the bio slurry. So that slurry is now also being used in the agricultural practice, which is actually acting as a normal organic manure. You don't need really any chemical fertilizers, and that biogas is being supplied for their home cooking purposes. So it's a closed loop model, and you are doing actually greenhouse gas emission reductions because you are not using that coal burning in your cooking. You are also doing the closed circle of crop waste management. You are also utilizing the bio slurry and making the agriculture as an organic system. So again, in this entire system, if you think at it from the legal framework perspective, if you again can incorporate it in the existing plan, then automatically that gives you a scope for leveraging the scalability, what the success model is, if you can scale it. So I keep on saying, even we are passionate about the environmental law and stuff like that, it's like always new statute is also having no guarantee that will give you the all solutions where the existing problem lies. Similarly with the energy also, Maharashtra has good examples of connecting solar say getting the energy, and then whatever is left, farmers can actually send it back to the grid and they can earn from that. West Bengal is still not in that shape, in not that space, but that scope is also there. Water ke context maybe you have the similar system. Again with the, if you make those kind of water harvesting, small scale rainwater harvesting, and then holding it in the agricultural area and then utilizing it besides giving the recharge scope for the groundwater. So then everything is again getting closed loop, because you are actually struggling. Purulia, Bankura, these kind of districts in West Bengal are actually struggling for the water. Even the minor irrigation is not suffice to meet the requirement. But when you can have this kind of small scale system, it helps small scale farmers as well. because they are not able to really go into the large scale unless they are really getting some kind of profitability from it, or some kind of not losing any further on the pockets basically. Yeah, so I'll first take the women representations. Why I'm saying this, because now currently wherever I went to the field, talked to the agricultural farmers communities, women are much more receptive to accept the new decisions, new thing to kind of climate resilient agriculture ke liye, if new kind of salt based, or the kind of conversation we were having, that new seed varieties, new rice varieties, or any other kind of crop varieties, so women are much more receptive to learn about these new things. And inherently, even the organizations, other organizations also who work with the farmers' families, they also, there are reports which shows that they are much more helpful in seed banking, then crop all options identifications, traditional knowledge preservations, all of these are much closer to the women farmers and women in the farmers' family too. And also this thing is, with the farming and the agriculture overall becoming not very profitable for the farmers as on a date. Other people's GDP I'm not talking about, but when you talk about the marginalized communities, so they need to, the male members especially, they need to go out, they migrate, leaving the women only in the actual rural area with the land responsibility for the agriculture output. So women that way are much at ease to control or make the decisions, but where they are lacking is they are not empowered with the land rights, and that's where actually the legal requirement comes in. And that legal requirement, you won't believe, has nothing to do with environment or agriculture, but the very basic of Succession Act. Land rights comes very much from the succession, which now in Hindu Succession Act as well as the Indian Succession Acts, which deals with the other kind of, all are given the equal empowerment, equal rights in the inheritance property, but still that lacks a very badly implementations. So the moment land rights it's not there with women, they are falling short with the government schemes, financing support and money lending from the financial institutions. So everything is then becoming the vicious cycle that you can imagine, like resilient agriculture, women can play a big role, but when it is coming to take about the decisions, just because they don't have the rights and the name or the title over the land ownership, that is creating a kind of loophole problem. So it's a very important issue that needs to be addressed, and not just from the environmental law or any other law, but from that itself, that very basic rooted problem that is, and that needs to be addressed very soon. And we hope that this kind of conversations, that we talk about multidisciplinary, we talk environment is very multidisciplinary, but when it comes the law, environmental law is not really very multidisciplinary yet. You cannot look environmental law ko bhi in isolations. You actually need to look with many other legal framework which has nothing to do with environment at all, but needs very level of strengthening, which right now is also important for the agricultural aspects. Small scale farmers ka bhi same issues when I talked about the integrated farming kind of thing, or the biogas-bio slurry kind of examples, all are very helpful for the small scale farmers, because for them again, because their marginal land holding is much less, so chances of experimenting with new thing, what he was also talking about, pre-experiment, pre-level assessment, so these kind of things is much at ease for the small scale holders, so that chances of loss will be experimented in a much smaller scale in that way. So what I talked about this biogas-bio slurry component concept of this integrated farming thing, West Bengal has these skilling centers through them, this Balagad example of Hooghly district, they have now prepared some training for making the skill as a kind of how to do the biogas, bioslurry productions, how to run the machines. So this kind of training is being done by West Bengal. West Bengal का जो youth training skilling centers department है, through them different government scheme in terms of promoting organic farming is still not in place, because again organic farming में you need for scalability, organic farming is still at much very premature stage, very nascent stage, because it's again linked to many things. It needs market linkage, it needs demand that much, that as on date organic product what has been labeled is much higher in price. Again it's a two-way process, you don't have the economies of scale concept, and that's why you are not able to make it that level of cheap or reasonable so that it penetrates the larger market. Rather what is happening, it is penetrating to a very few people and very few market also. So connection, market linkage is a big problem. Even when she was also asking the question, last one, Sundarban ka bhi, if 7-8 kind of varieties are there, we can understand that salt varieties is needed there. But if something comes up as a good output, then other part of the country can also use it as a food variety, right? So, but that connectivity, that bridging, that market linkage, entrepreneurship, everything is still missing. And government scheme, talking to your answer, not really yet, just to make this is the only thing, because farmers ke liye bhi it becoming a very difficult to just compete with the others when they are getting much higher produce and they are only getting so less in numbers or so less in quantity. So still till date as of now no such incentive कि आप ये कर रहे हो तो कुछ ज़्यादा मिल रहा है, no. So this kind of things are still of course a gap in the system, regulatory system. I can talk about ESG. ESG is a terminology for environment, social and governance, but why I mentioned that multidisciplinary approach is required. ESG is a mandate that SEBI listed all the 1,000 companies, they have to do the reporting on this ESG, these 3 parameters. Now SEBI listed companies means they are mostly registered under the Companies Act. Now you go back to the thing, Companies Act gives you certain grounds for company winding up. ठीक है, ESG reporting is just a reporting. I am going parallelly. ESG talks about SEBI की mandate wise you have to do the reporting on environment, social and governance. आप क्या क्या कर रहे हो? Now this is just a reporting. If any company is not following what they have reported, Company Act 2013 does not give it as a winding up ground. So the moment it is not happening, the moment it is just ये अपने तरफ है, यहाँ एनवायरनमेंट का रिपोर्टिंग हो गया और ये अपने तरफ कंपनी की तरह चलेगा, सो देन यू डिड नॉट रियली क्लब, डिड नॉट रियली इंटीग्रेट, यू आर जस्ट शोकेजिंग कि हमने एनवायरनमेंट की रिपोर्टिंग के बारे में बात कर रहे हैं. दिस इज अ बिग फ्लॉज इन द ESG itself. But of course ESG reporting now is mandatory and most of the first 1,000 companies to will have to do. So as of now still there is no such angle if you that way ask. बट जो किया हुआ है उसको भी अगेन द एग्जिस्टिंग एक्ट के साथ अगर आप मार्च करना चाहोगे, देन इसका पर्पस गेट्स डिफीटेड इफ यू जस्ट पुट इट इन द रिपोर्टिंग ओनली.